There we go. Good afternoon. I'm 14 First Alert meteorologist Arden Gregory, and Jamie French will be along in just a moment with an update on that sinkhole that has everybody talking in Evansville. But first, let's get through your forecast. This is a live look at the Owensboro riverfront. Lots of blue sky and sunshine out there, but a few clouds mixed in as well. We are still on alert for just a few more hours. That heat advisory almost to an end now. Still hot and humid out there today, but we're already seeing improvement compared to what we've had for most of this week. It gets a little bit cooler over the weekend as our rain chances pick up a bit, and then cooler, drier, less humid air really takes over by the middle of next week. This is a look at that heat advisory, still in effect for the entire tri-state, but it comes to an end at 7 o'clock this evening. So end of the day today, we are finally out of that heat advisory that we have been under since Saturday, so nearly a whole week now. And most of the Ohio River Valley region is still under that heat advisory right along with us. We are tracking rain in a couple different places right now. There's some rain very scattered off to our southeast, and then also kind of a line of storms off to the west stretching through parts of Illinois and Missouri. We're keeping a close eye on both, but we're kind of caught in the middle right now. So it is mainly dry and even mostly sunny across the tri-state, with the exception of one isolated shower in Ohio County right now. The rest of us are dry. We'll continue to see these very spotty rain chances through the rest of the afternoon. Then one thing that's different today, the past few days we've had these spotty storms that pop up in the afternoon, but then they clear out once the sun sets. Today the rain chances don't completely end when the sun goes down because of that rain I'm tracking in Missouri. As that line of showers and storms moves eastward, it is going to start to die down pretty quickly once the sun sets, but it may hold on just long enough to make it to parts of the tri-state. So especially in southeast Illinois, you may still see some rain even after dark tonight. I'm not sure how long it'll hold together, though. It'll probably be very isolated by the time it crosses the river into Indiana and Kentucky and then tapers off completely. Now over the weekend, our rain chances go up a bit. There's an isolated chance Saturday morning. Don't be shocked if you get a little rain, but for most of us, the rain chances really start to pick up closer to lunchtime. Then scattered showers and a few thunderstorms will be possible through Saturday afternoon and evening. Then we kind of repeat the same forecast on Sunday. An isolated chance of rain in the morning, but better chances from about lunchtime through the afternoon. Neither day this weekend will be a total washout. There's going to be quite a bit of dry time mixed in too, but the rain will be a little more scattered rather than isolated. So there's going to be a better chance of rain this weekend compared to what we've had most of this week, but again, still not a total washout. As for our temperatures, sitting in the low to mid 90s in most locations right now. It's currently 93 in Evansville, 92 in Owensboro, but when you factor in the humidity, both locations feel like 101. Hard to believe that that is actually improvement compared to what we've had for most of this week. There is a lot going on outdoors as you go through the rest of this evening. We've got Friday After 5 and Romp both happening in Owensboro. If you're headed out to that, keep in mind it's going to be steamy out there this afternoon, and you may even catch a stray shower, but most likely staying dry. Temperatures will then drop back out of the 90s and through the 80s this evening, eventually dipping into the 70s overnight. We've got another warm, muggy night ahead of us with lows in the low to mid 70s. Then tomorrow, not as hot, partly cloudy with some scattered rain, again mainly during the afternoon, and highs in the lower 90s, probably feeling like upper 90s to around 100. So again, still pretty sticky and steamy, but improvement on this past week. So for the rest of today, sort of at moderate to maybe even a major heat risk, turning more toward that moderate heat risk then through the weekend and even into Monday. Tuesday is when that heat truly breaks and we drop back to a minor heat risk, which is where we sit for most of the summer. And that's because we have a cold front on the way. So we do have still this kind of unsettled pattern, some scattered rain in the forecast both Saturday and Sunday, but Monday is our best chance of rain. That's when this cold front comes in from the northwest. southwest and clashes with that warm, humid air that we have in place. So we've got a chance of rain on and off throughout the entire day Monday, but really as you get into Monday afternoon and evening, that's when rain is likely, and we may even get some thunderstorms. I think the main risk with that would be some very heavy rain, lightning, maybe some gusty winds, but not really seeing a severe weather threat for Monday, so that's good news. Then as that cold front swings through Monday night and starts to work its way off to the southeast, it takes the rain with it. So the last of the rain will taper off Tuesday morning, but notice the wind arrows here. I want to draw your attention that behind that cold front, our wind direction shifts and slightly cooler but much drier air will take over, and you're really going to feel that difference by the middle of next week. So already seeing a slight dip over the weekend, upper 80s to low 90s. Then we hold on to those upper 80s through much of next week, which is right where we should be this time of year, before we start trending very slowly back into the lower 90s. But the humidity, that's where you're really going to feel it. We have had just this miserable air you can wear kind of humidity ever since this past weekend, which is why the heat index has been such a problem. And it's still going to be pretty humid all the way through the weekend up until about Monday. Then we see this little dip here where we go from miserable to just regular old humid like you would expect for summer in the tri-state. And we'll have that Tuesday, Wednesday, and even into Thursday. Then that humidity starts to trend back up. So looking ahead to Independence Day, which is 1 week from today, I do think it'll be mostly sunny in the morning, but as we get into the afternoon, there's going to be a little more humidity in the atmosphere. So I think we'll probably see some clouds bubbling up, maybe even a few pop-up showers and thunderstorms with highs in the lower 90s and a little bit of humidity too. So it'll probably feel hotter than that. So that's just kind of a sneak peek ahead to the 4th of July, something that we'll be keeping a very close eye on over the next 7 days for sure. All right, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the forecast. The only question I'm seeing is someone asking about severe weather tomorrow. We are not anticipating severe weather this weekend. You may get some lightning, you may get some heavy rain, both of which can be hazardous if you're outdoors, but we are not anticipating severe weather this weekend. So that answers the only question I'm seeing. So I'm going to wrap up the forecast now. Don't go anywhere though. Jamie French will be right back with that update on the sinkhole.
Stay informed on your local news and weather throughout the day by watching the 14 First Alert streaming shows. At 8:30 a.m., get your First Alert forecast to plan the day ahead and catch up on the news that happened overnight with the 14 News Sunrise team. In the afternoon, get the latest headlines, forecasts, and a preview of the stories we're working on with the 14 First Alert streaming show at 2:30. And get an in-depth look at the 14 First Alert forecast so you're ready for the next big thing with the 14 First Alert weather show at 9 p.m. Watch the 14 First Alert streaming show that fits your schedule and works best for you. Streaming on your phone by downloading the 14 News app and the 14 First Alert weather app. On your smart TV by using the 14 News streaming app. And stream anytime on Facebook, YouTube, or on 14news.com. Stay connected and stay informed by watching the 14 First Alert streaming shows on your favorite streaming devices. Live from 14 News, this is a 14 Digital News Desk update.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us for our 2:30 streaming show. I am Jamie French, and I am joined with Executive Director of the Evansville Water and Sewer Utility, Vic Kelson. Now, Vic is joining us today because we are trying to get an update on that sinkhole there in Riverside Drive in Evansville. Vic, you all recently released an update on your YouTube page there talking about what's going on there, how exactly this sinkhole got started, where the construction stands so far with that closure, and then what the next steps are. So we want to sort of reiterate that for all of our 14 News viewers this afternoon. Now, this has been about 5 months of an issue, I would say.
The end of February. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So that's when that sinkhole first started forming on Riverside Drive. Talk us through the very beginning. What exactly happened there, and what was the problem?
Well, when it all started, there is a sewer that's buried very deeply under Chestnut Street and down across Riverside Drive. There's actually quite a bit of infrastructure at that location. We'll talk a bit more about that in a minute. But right there where Chestnut and Riverside Drive intersect, there was a failure in the sewer, where the roof of the sewer caved in. This sewer is 5 feet by 4 feet. It's kind of egg-shaped, actually, and it's when that failed, the bricks from the top. It's made of brick. When the bricks fell in, some of the soil and the other fill materials that were on top of it, they fell in, and that caused the road to start to subside. So they closed the road, the westbound lanes of Riverside Drive, and then we got our contractor out there. They installed a shoring box and actually dug all the way down to the pipe to see what was down there, and they discovered that, sure enough, that this brick sewer had failed. So our plan then was to treat it as a repair, and we could have done that repair. We were ready to do the repair. Basically, we would put a new pipe inside the old pipe, grout it in place, and then put a liner in it so that it would carry all the water. And we were ready to do that when the weather changed.
Yeah, the weather has really not been on your side for this project and this repair here, because we had, historic rainfall pretty much in April with flooding, and then that just persisted. That's really put a damper in the timeline for you guys. Talk about that.
That's what really caused the big problem. So when the water level in the river came up, there were a couple of problems. The first one is, as I said, the sewer is really deep there. So if the river was above 23 feet, we had the risk of water flowing actually into the excavation where the men would be working, that were working on the pipe down there. So when the river came up, there were two problems. One is that the water levels in the groundwater also raised up. That caused the sand and the silt that makes up the soils there to get wet. And so if you've been at the beach, you dig a hole and you get the wet sand, it slumps.
Yeah.
And so what happens is that material just started to slump down to the lowest location, which was the hole where the sewer was failing. And as long as the river stayed up, that slumping would continue. There would be hydrostatic pressure from the river pushing down on it, and it would continue to slump into the hole. And eventually then that would just flow down to our wastewater plant, and we ended up with tons and tons of sand that actually made it to the plant, and we had to remove from the water flowing into the plant. So it's been a real problem, because the river would come up and go down and come up and go down, and it just never stayed down.
Right. And the river does have to be below 23 feet, correct? And stay there in order for the crews to get down into that hole and work. Otherwise, they're not able to access that hole and even begin to work on any sort of repairs. Like you said, a river, when it's raised, the ground level, the groundwater there is raised as well, and they're not able to get down there, folks, and do their work. So we need 23 feet, and we need the river to stay there for a pretty good period of time.
It'll need to be there for pretty much for the duration. We also can, we're planning to install some dewatering wells that will help us to keep it low should it come back up for a short period of time during the time that they're doing the work down there.
Yeah, and so speaking of installing different things and sort of what's next moving forward here, you guys are installing pretty much a metal shoring. That's what you explained in your YouTube video that you all posted, and that's going to really allow you guys to get down there and work. So tell us what that is and what that's going to look like when we see it from Riverside.
Well, there are lots of aspects to this, of course. Our first priority is the public safety. We've worked a lot with the mayor's office and with the city engineer's office to make sure that the area is not accessible by traffic. But we also, as we go forward to do this project, it's going to have to be the safety of our workers and of our contractors is going to be a really high priority. So we're going to end up installing sheet pilings as shoring that will basically extend all the way across Riverside Drive. And then we'll excavate that entire hole there so all the work can be done inside of that shoring box. That will last for several months as they're doing all of the work, because as the sand started moving, it compromised the manhole that was in the median of the street, and it also compromised a diversion structure that handles water moving to the combined sewer overflow. So all of that has to be replaced and repaired as well. And also, it undermined 2 water mains. We have a 30-inch water main and a 36-inch water main at that location that serve the west side. So we really need those to stay in service
Yes,
too.
yeah.
So as all of that has been compromised during the time that the river was up, and while it's been so wet, it's really important that we really take it all in as one big project. So this started out in February and March. This looked like a repair, but now
Yeah.
it really is a major project. And I know it's frustrating that it's taking so long, but normally with a situation like this, if we knew we had to replace the sewer, we would have planned it for a couple of years, and we'd have had a fully planned project that we would have been able to execute. We don't normally do these things in real time while the road's closed.
Right.
So we have to plan it and do it at the same time.
Yeah, and that was a comment you made in your video on YouTube that you posted your update there. You said we essentially have to design and repair all at the same time, which you said is so unique to this because normally you would have years of planning. So that's, of course, created some challenges in itself. Now, I want to ask about the cost. This is a very large hole. If I'm correct from what you said earlier, roughly 20 feet deep, more than 100 feet long, and about 10 feet wide. So,
Yeah, I'm not sure about the width. But
okay,
yeah,
okay, but it's
it's going to be more
roughly-
than 20 feet deep and all the way across
So-
Riverside Drive.
in conclusion, a very large sinkhole, folks. So we know that this has got to be a pretty extensive repair. Talk about how pricey this is going to be.
Well, it's going to be pricey. We're already $1 million in on this work. We're one of the engineers that we spoke with the other day estimated that it might take $1 million worth of rock just to refill everything.
Wow.
If you want to refill it with rock. So there are lots of decisions yet to be made about how this is all going to be redone when it's all reconstructed. But yeah, it's a multi-million-dollar effort to get this done. We'll
Yeah.
be paying for it out of our current sewer revenues and out of our capital funds as we go forward.
Yeah.
And there may be some assistance related to the flooding, but we can't be sure about that as yet. We're certainly pursuing it.
Okay. Well, so tell me where things stand. You know, today on this Friday, what's the very next step? When can you guys get down there and start working?
Well, we've been doing some work this week.
Okay.
We've been working this week on securing the one of those 2 water mains actually started to drip a little bit. We've been working on securing that. There'll be work next week as they're beginning to get the equipment and the materials in to do the sheet piling, shoring for the construction site, and we expect that they'll be shoring that up over the next 3, 4, 5 weeks to get
Okay.
that all built up, and then excavated, and then get the construction project underway.
Okay, and then something else I wanted to mention was you talked about bringing an inspection contractor in to sort of look at other maybe sewer lines around that area to see if this hopefully not is a problem that could happen again, but going ahead and being proactive about looking at those places and seeing if there's any more issues elsewhere. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, since Riverside Drive is closed over that entire segment, there are a few other places along there where we have large sewers that are going to the river, and we're going to have those inspected while everything's shut down. We may decide to do lining projects to reinforce those to make sure this doesn't happen again. But we'll be taking that on while everything is shut down. We don't want to miss the opportunity.
Right, absolutely. And I know timeline is the main question, folks. We all want to know when we can drive back on Riverside again. He feels the exact same way. He mentioned, living in downtown Evansville as well. He feels our pain too. So we're hearing possibly 3 to 4 months. I know you maybe mentioned
October is the
Okay.
time on the timeline that I've seen. Optimistically, sometime in October we hope, but when we get down there we'll know a lot more. So
Right.
we can't really refine that schedule until we know what's there, and that will be after the box is installed and it's excavated.
Right, and really dependent too on Mother Nature, making sure the rain and the river levels go
Yes,
down,
let's
hold
hope we
steady.
have a normal summer.
Right, absolutely. All right, anything else you want to mention about the update on this project? Or, you're so busy at this point working on this, and you've really only been in this role for about a year now?
Year and a half, yeah.
Year and a half, and really just most of it's been consumed with this sinkhole, so you've had your work cut out for you. Anything else you want to mention about this project here?
4th of July is coming up. We've been in discussions with the mayor's office with the police department about making sure that we can secure everything down there. We really ask the public to please stay away from the hole. It's not safe to be inside the fences over there. So please give us a little bit of space on this, and please be patient. We're doing the best we can to get this all dealt with.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, folks, just to sort of reiterate what Vic has said, we're hoping 3 to 4 months, potentially October, before the Riverside Drive sinkhole can be fixed and reopened and all as well again. So, of course, they've got a lot to do, very dependent on the river levels as well. But the next step is getting that metal shoring in there, correct?
That's right.
And we're hoping in the next maybe week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we'll start to see
things going on down there in the
Okay.
next couple of weeks, and then it'll probably take perhaps a month to get the shoring box built, and then we'll move forward from there.
Okay. Now, of course, folks, we will continue to keep you updated. We will be in contact with Vic every step of the way, and as soon as we have an update from him, we will, of course, let you know. Vic, we want to thank you so much for joining us this afternoon, kind of clearing the air here. Of course, I'm looking through our Facebook comments, not seeing any major questions, but if you ever do have any questions regarding the sinkhole that we can help you with, be sure to reach out to us. We can always stay in touch with Vic here to clear anything up for you guys. All right. Well, that will wrap things up for our streaming show. Thanks for joining us at 2:30. We'll see you tonight on 14 News.